welcome to another episode of Boring History. My name is Angela, and in one of my previous videos, I can't remember which one, I think it might have been the Death of Heracles video, but I mentioned this dude by the name of Meleager. And I figured, seeing as it's been a while since I've told a Greek myth, why not tell that story today? Also, I fully accept that I'm probably saying his name completely wrong, but I'm just going to try my best to at least say it the same way throughout the whole video. Now, interestingly, Meleager is actually mentioned in the Iliad as type of a moral lesson. Well, I guess it's not really a moral lesson, but he's mentioned to Achilles when Achilles is being a little sooky head and refuses to go out and fight. And essentially they're using the story of Meleager as a type of warning of what can happen if you just stay at home inside and you don't go out and fulfill your duty. Or at least it's something along those lines. But the story of Meleager that's mentioned in the Iliad is called the Calydonian Boar Hunt. Not sure if that's the official name, but it's good enough for this video. And the story goes a little something like this. Meleager, as is the norm in these types of Greek myths, was the son of a king, the king of Calydon. And one year, after a particularly successful harvest, the king of Calydon decides to make an offering to all of the gods except for Artemis. And to be honest, I can't say that I blame him, because in spite of all the romanticizing that's done about her being the goddess of the hunt and this wild and free spirit, she can be a bit of a cow. Anyway, expectedly, Artemis gets pissed off and she sends this wild boar to ravish the fields of Calydon, which in a way almost seems redundant, because I mean, technically the harvest has already been done. So if there's this giant boar that comes along and he's churning up all the fields, isn't that technically helping the farmers? Maybe? So this boar is gallivanting around the countryside, and it's decided that Meleager is going to put together this hunting party to go and hunt the boar. But the boar is a mighty boar, and several of the hunting party are killed until eventually Meleager does succeed in killing the boar. Yay for our hero. Now, understandably, Artemis is not at all happy that her little pet has met with such an unfortunate end, and she decides to cause even more mischief. She goes to the hometown, or I guess we should say the tribe of people where Meleager's mother was from, and then she also goes to some of the other tribes and villages that participated in the hunt. Now, previously, everybody had gotten along swimmingly. I mean, they participated in the hunt together. But then Artemis starts spreading some rumors. She's all like, oh my god guys, you would not believe what those guys over there have been saying about you. Surely you're not going to let them get away with it. Think of your honor. And the squabbling between the peoples intensifies until eventually it gets so bad that Meleager ends up killing his uncles, as in his mother's brothers. His mother is furious, and she curses him with the wrath of the Furies. And Meleager becomes terrified of his mother's curse. I mean, angry mothers are nothing to poke a stick at. So perhaps we can sympathize with Meleager's decision to place himself under a self-imposed house arrest. But unfortunately, just because Meleager decides to lock himself in his bedroom with a tub of ice cream and some Netflix, it doesn't mean that the fighting stops. And his mother's hometown is being absolutely trashed by this other tribe, to the point where the elders come to Meleager and they're like, look, we know you and your mother aren't on the best of terms at the moment, but like, could you possibly find it in your heart to maybe help us out? But at that moment, a pigeon or something must have squawked, because Meleager just pulls the covers over his head and he's like, nope, go away. And the fighting between the tribes continues, and it keeps getting worse and worse, and people are dying and the land is getting ravished and burned to a crisp. And the whole time, Meleager is just in his room going, la 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 la, I can't hear you. Eventually, it gets to the point where Meleager's whole hometown is in flames and the enemy is almost right at his doorstep. And at this point, his wife is just absolutely fed up, and she storms into his room and she informs Meleager that if he doesn't get his butt out of bed, then she and everybody that he ever knows and has cared about is just going to be dead. And apparently her little motivational speech works, because because the next second, Meleager jumps out of bed, puts on his armor, and he heads out to defend his town. Meleager's people end up winning, and everybody is safe. Except for Meleager. He died in battle. The end. Now, that was like the most simple version of the story. However, of course, as time goes on, the story started evolving and becoming a little bit more complicated, as stories tend to do. So, for example, there's a later edition where it said that when Meleager was just 7 days old, the Fates visited his mother and they told her that her son's fate was going to be linked to a piece of wood that was currently burning in the fireplace. Why? But Meleager's mother takes the log out of the fireplace and throws it in a bucket of water or something, and then when it's all cooled down, hides it in a chest. Actually, do you know what? I just had a thought. Do you think there's any connection or any inspiration that the story of Sleeping Beauty took from this? I mean, there's the whole, your child is doomed with a spindle, and then her father takes all the spindles and hides them away? Maybe? Anyway. Back on topic. In the long version of the Meleager story, when it comes to the Calydonian boar hunt, there's a whole heap of heroes that actually participate, including like the twin brother of Heracles and this huntress called Atalanta, who Meleager falls in love with. Or at least a woman that Meleager wanted to have a child with. An important distinction to make, I guess. So where were we? Meleager wanted to make babies with Atalanta, but Meleager was also already married to somebody else. Alright, so the whole hunting party goes out to hunt the boar, and it's Meleager who manages to get the kill shot by stabbing the boar in its side with a knife. And because Meleager landed the kill shot, it means that he is also entitled to the carcass. And because he's a gentleman, in the process of wooing a lady, he gives the dead boar to Atalanta. Meleager's uncles are furious. They're like, that is so not cool, bro. If you didn't want the sacred carcass, honor dictates that you should have given it to us because we are your closest family members. They get into an argument and Meleager ends up killing his uncles. His mother gets pissed off that her brothers have been killed and she takes the magical log out of the chest, throws it onto the fireplace where it's burnt to a crisp. And turns out the Fates weren't lying when it came to Meleager and the log, and as the log burns, Meleager dies. Now obviously after his mother calms down, she is absolutely horrified at what she has done, and she and Meleager's actual wife, so not Atalanta, but the two of them end up killing themselves. Your guess is as good as mine when it comes to why his actual wife felt the need to kill herself. But anyway, that is the end of that version. It is not, however, the end of all versions. So for example, there is another version where it said that Meleager was invincible and only the arrow shot by Apollo could kill him. Greek myths are always such fun, aren't they? Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this little myth. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if you know how to pronounce Meleager properly. Also let me know that. And aside from that, feel free to subscribe because I look forward to sharing even more boring history with you in the future.